This is the Jumbo Mine. We're at the upper adit, the northernmost adit. We're looking north at the caved portal of it. I believe it's kind of right in this area of the rock slide. Just right in where we're looking here. You can't really tell. There's just a slight depression there across the slope. I believe that's where it is. Looking at the dump, it's kind of in line for it. I'm standing on the dump itself. We'll get back and take a look at the dump. But there really is not a lot to see here. There's a little bit of scrap metal laying around, drill rod and drill steel and such, but very, very little of that. So we'll just get a little bit better look at things here. On up above, there's another small diggings. I walked up there, and it doesn't amount to very much. It's very, very minor. I don't believe that's one that's on the map. It's not going to really even be dealt with here. Just showing it for completeness sake. It is just a little bit to the north, maybe 50 feet horizontal and 30 or 40 feet vertical up to that next one. And it's not a very significant little digging up there. So this will be it for looking at the upper portal. We'll look at the dump on it now and then move on down. This is the dump for the upper adit for the Jumbo Mine. We're looking east at kind of at a profile of the adit, or of the dump. You can see there's a log structure down at just about the toe of it. On the face and down on the toe is some kind of a log structure. They had ore chute or some such thing out there. So it's not a very big dump. It only goes out from where I believe the portal is only about 20 feet, and then it spreads about 50 feet down the hill. So this will be it for the upper adit for the Jumbo Mine. We'll move on down to the other ones. This is what I believe is adit 2 for the Jumbo Mine. We're looking kind of north and northeast here at the caved portal. I believe it's just right where these large rocks are coming down. I think there's some timbers visible there, and the dump pretty much lines up with it as it comes out to the southwest. So I think that this is the portal of adit 2 for the Jumbo Mine, EC0148. I don't know for sure. It is completely caved, but this is the best guess I've got for what we got here. So we'll turn around and take a look at the dump now and see what it looks like. Here we're looking southwest now at the dump for adit 2. From where I'm standing here just by the portal, it's about 100 feet long and maybe as much as 20 feet wide. It's kind of a real narrow top. But we'll take a look at the side view of it. It has a little crook at the end of it, at the southwest end, over by, you probably see where my pack is there. It just curves around, so it stays kind of parallel to the slope. But it has quite a distance down slope that it takes as it comes out and dumps off the side. So we'll now take a look at the profile of the dump and see how far it goes down the hill. Here we're looking west at the kind of the profile of the dump for adit 2 of the Jumbo Mine. See, it scatters quite a distance downhill. That's probably over 100 feet on the slope that it spreads out, but it's not very thick. It's such a steep slope that it's no more than 10 feet thick at the deepest, and probably not even that. It just scatters a long ways down the slope. Up we can see just about where the top of the dump is, and up there at the very top of the view here. And it's not really a huge dump. It's very narrow along the axis of it, and then it just spreads way down the hill. So like I said, maybe 100 feet down the slope. So this will be it for adit 2. We'll take one more shot up on the dump, and then that will be it. Here we're looking east along the axis of the dump, and back in these trees is where I believe the portal for the adit is. This adit 2 of the jumbo mine. Just for perspective, I'll give you an idea of where adit 1 is. Just right up the hill. It's this light spot in this dump there, and there's that building, or that ore chute or whatever it is. It's on the toe of the dump there. So this just gives you an idea of where we are relative to adit 1. We're just down the hill and a little bit to the west of adit 1. So just give you an idea of how this is situated here. So this will be it for adit 2. We'll move on over to adit 3 now. This is the third adit for the jumbo mine, EC0148. We're looking almost due west into the open portal. It is open quite a ways back. The rock seems to be pretty stable. I can't really tell how far back it goes. I didn't go in it, but it does not look like it's caved all that terrible much. We'll get a little better look up close right into the portal and see what it looks like down in there. Here we're looking right in the open portal for the adit 3 of the jumbo mine. There appears to be a bit of water down in there. Not a lot. No water's leaking out here on the surface that I've been able to find. A little bit of moss growing on the walls indicates water. It looks fairly stable going back in there, but again, it's very hard to say. The adit does go in, look into it. We're looking west now. It goes in, looks like it does turn to the north and continues on. The dump, we'll take a look at it right now and see what it does on the outside here of the portal. Here we're looking west, or east, I'm sorry, east from the portal of the third adit of the jumbo mine. Most of the dump is gone, I believe. It's slipped down the hill, or there wasn't very much of it. I can't really tell, but the direction we're looking is right down the dump. It's along the slope. At the far end over there, it's about 150 feet. And we can see where the dump has accumulated. There's quite a large smear going down the hill there. But between the portal and there really is not that much material. So I'm not really sure what happened to it. It might have just worked its way down the hill. It's a very steep hillside here, right in a rock slide, and that's probably what happened. So this will be it for adit 3 of the jumbo mine. Here we're looking at the caved portion of adit 4 for the jumbo mine. It's EC0148. We're looking southeast along the cave of it. We're just above where the dump is. We're to the northwest of the dump. We'll go down there next, but I just wanted to show you the kind of the trench here where the adit has caved in. We'll go down on the dump now. Here we're looking southwest along the dump for adit 4 of the jumbo mine. We're right in the weeds here, pretty much is the lower end of that trench that we saw where the caved adit is. The portal would be in the bushes there somewhere. There's a stream coming out of there down in the alders. I've got a sample of that. It comes out of the portal, and it's a very small seep. It doesn't really go through the dump in any way. It just kind of goes beside it and then on down. So we're looking southwest on the dump here. You can see a lot of scrap metal. There's a drill rod, drill steel, pipe, miscellaneous metal pieces. There's a winch over here for the cable systems that they got in the area here, and miscellaneous things like that on the dump. We'll get over on the other side by that winch and look back this way and then get another view of the dump. Here we're looking east or southeast along the dump. You can see a lot of that drill steel that we were looking for. There's mine rails and miscellaneous other metal laying around on it. On over here there's a old wheelbarrow that's broken down. We'll get out on the edge of the dump, out of the weeds, and get a look at what it looks like now. Here we're looking east along the dump. You can see it's quite long here. It goes down quite a ways down the slope. It's not very wide. I'll get the measurements later. But we're about halfway out on the dump here, where it opens up and you can really see what's going on. Down below us is the mill building for the jumbo mine, and we'll do it later. But right now we'll finish up on the dump for the adit 4 of the jumbo mine. This is EC0148. This will be it for the jumbo adit 4. This is the upper side of the mill building for the jumbo mine. We'll deal with it separately. It'll just be referred to as the jumbo mill, have separate numbers and all. But this is the upper portion from the dump of adit 4. We'll get it from while we're up here. You can see there's a stamp mill in there for primary crushing. There may have been another battery of stamps on the other side. I don't know from up here, but it's nearly all collapsed. So we'll get a better view from down below, and then see what the tailings look like, and various other situations with it. Here we're continuing on with the jumbo mill. We're calling it part of the jumbo mine, which is EC0148. It may be a separate number. We could call it something else, but it's so close and so intimately related with the jumbo mine that I'm just going to consider it EC0148 and sample it and all relative to that. We're looking north and northwest up the hill at the mine. You can see the stamp mill is 2 batteries of 5 stamps each, so it's a 10 stamp mill. It's nearly collapsed. That's on the northeast side of the mill itself. We're kind of looking across the mill up to the north and northwest. If you look up high up there, you can see the tailings for I believe it's adit 2 of the 4 adits that are on the property here. So you can see that the mill is pretty well collapsed. There's an old boiler here. It's fire bricks lined and all tumbled out. Lots of scrap metal pipes and what have you all over the place here. It's quite trashed with just scrap metal and various and sundry parts of the mill itself. We'll get over on the other side now, the northeast side, and look back towards the southwest and get a little better look at that. Here we're on the east and northeast side of the mill, on clear at the lower end of it, and looking again at that 10 stamp mill there. We'll pan across to the west, kind of where we just came from. You can see the boiler off in the distance there where we just were. On this side there's a bit of what I believe is some kind of tailings here. Mill tailings, I don't know. They appear to be more sulfide rich though. I sampled that as a separate sample from another tailing sample that I thought I found. So this will be a separate 2 tailing samples for this site, and it does have water running down basically through it. As we pan across over this way, and on the lower end of the mill, as we come out, you can see the rusty water and such running down. Just a more or less of a seep. It's not that much water, but it comes out of right where that tailings area is, and therefore I deemed it reasonable to take a sample of that just to give an idea of what is really leaching out of the area. Down below the mine, or the mill, is quite a swampy area, kind of a wetland, and it goes through that. I don't believe that this creek really reaches the main Jumbo Creek, or a branch of Jumbo Creek. It's quite a ways away from it. It maybe eventually does, but I walked down the creek and tried to find where it really entered it, and I couldn't, to get an upstream and downstream sample. So just a sample of the water itself I deemed as sufficient to characterize this site and get an idea of just what is leaching out from underneath the mill and whatever these kind of tailings are right here. We'll go over and look at the other tailings site now, and it's a little bit coarser grain material, but we'll get a little better look at that. Here we're back on the southwest edge of the mill, on the lower side of it, the kind of the southern end of it. We're looking out where I believe is a pile of tailings. I did sample that. That was the first tailings sample for the site. This is about the best view of it. Unfortunately, it's quite overgrown with alders and such. It's not a very good view of what really is going on here. But this is a large pile of what I believe are tailings. I'm not sure what exactly they are. I took a sample. It's not quite as conclusive as the one I just showed, but this will show you good enough. It's a lot larger pile than what was over there. There's really no water getting near this material over here, and it looks pretty inert. I don't see any oxidation going on in it or anything. It's mainly just crushed rock. So it's pretty much of a innocuous sample, but just in case it is something, I did get a sample of it. So this will be it for the Jumbo Mill, and we'll move on to another one unless I find some more structures or whatever associated with this mill. Here we're looking northwest at a collapsed cabin that's along Trail 230 that comes down from Jumbo Camp. This is probably a site that's related to the Jumbo mine. I'm giving it a separate site number, calling it E01489905. It appears to be a concentrating site for the ore from the Jumbo mine. Well, look there. It appears to be some leach vats just behind this building, kind of to the north. There, some of them intact, and most of them have been collapsed. But we'll take a look at that and just kind of get a feel for what this site really is. And then there's a bunch of tailings back behind there also that we'll take a look at. So you can see the site is littered with tin and various scrap metal drums of various kinds. There's some carbide canisters there, big ones, 5-pound or 10-pound carbide canisters. So we're right on Trail 230 where this collapsed cabin is. There's actually 2 cabins here at this site. We'll just look at that one, and then the other one is kind of in the bushes. Can't really see it, but suffice to say there's 2 of them there. Both of them are nearly collapsed. We'll move up behind to where the leach vats, or what I believe are leach vats now, and take a look at those. Here we're looking at what are those leach vats that I was talking about. I believe they're leach vats anyway. I'll just continue to refer to them as that. This one here is buried nearly into all the way in the ground. It's about 8 feet in diameter and about 4 feet tall. That's sticking up above the ground, or above the floor in it. It may be, the boards may be taller than that. There's another one that's also intact right close to it. It's got some higher boards on the one side, on the downhill side of it. Again, there's collapsed vats all over this site. I counted roughly 7 of them. There's different diameters. We'll look at one that's approximately 14 feet in diameter that's still intact next, and then we'll look at the overall site. Here we're looking at one of the largest tanks that, or vats at this site. This is approximately 14 feet in diameter and is in pretty good shape. The wall is falling apart in parts of it. Again, the wall is about 4 feet tall above the floor inside, and it is nearly intact all the way around. I'm not real sure what the use of all these tanks were, or vats. I am guessing there's about 7 of them. We'll take a look at the overall site and see the site of the collapsed ones now. Here we're looking northwest, basically, at the site of this cluster of these, what I'm perceiving as leach vats. You can see most of them are down on the ground. What all this lumber, that's what it is the stays for the walls of the vats. You can see this one back here is nearly intact. It's partially collapsed. You can see the walls falling away there, and there's an air pipe going around, but there's bands that go around it to hold them together, and there's quite a few of these that have been collapsed in at this site. Again, a lot of scrap metal and garbage laying around. Not garbage per se, just scrap metal cans, pipe, drill steel, and that type of thing. So this is the cluster of 6 or 7 leach vats that are just northwest or north of the cabins that I showed you early at this video. Now we'll look at this large tailings area up to the north of this. This is a large northeast trending waste pile, tailings pile, I believe, from the Jumbo mine. It's just to the north of where those leach vats are. You can see there's mine rails kind of stretched along it. Most of them are torn up. They just show up in places here. I would guess that this is about 130 feet long. It's kind of hard to say. That's what I measured off. It may be a little bit more than that, and about 60 feet wide. We're looking where it breaks off to the side. Over here is one edge of it, the kind of the southeast edge, and then up into the timber there and the bushes, it goes a little bit farther, and I'm guessing it's about 60 feet wide. So about 60 feet by 130. But then it turns and heads northwest towards the Jumbo mine, or the Jumbo mill, and the mine, I guess. There's a 12-inch pipe that goes up quite a ways that way. It's not intact the whole way. There's bits and pieces of it, but it does trend right towards the mill, and it probably was water that went up one of those drainages that bring water into this concentrating site. So this I would assume that this is all part of the Jumbo mine mill complex. This is just the concentrating plant, and where they leached out the gold. I'm not sure if it was cyanide leaching or what, but anyway, it's some kind of a concentrating plant, and this is a fairly large tailings disposal area here. So this will be it for this site. It's E014905.